A few days ago, I received an email that absolutely crushed me. It was from a 52-year-old woman named Lisa. She wrote, "I finally checked my 401k balance today, and I couldn't stop the tears. $8,000, that's all I have." She continued, "Everywhere I look, articles say I need $1 million to retire, and I'm honestly terrified I'll end up working retail jobs for the rest of my life." So if you're sitting there right now, and this hits way too close to home, I want you to stop for a second and just breathe with me. Because what I'm going to walk you through today isn't some motivational fluff. This is a legitimate step-by-step system that has transformed the retirement outlook for hundreds of people in situations just like yours. Here's the truth that the financial media won't tell you. Hitting 50 without substantial retirement savings doesn't mean your dreams are over. In fact, this is precisely when the government gives you access to the most aggressive wealth-building advantages available, and when you finally have the experience and clarity to deploy them effectively. Today, I'm breaking down the exact 5-step framework that can take you from Lisa's situation to building a 7-figure retirement fund by the time you're ready to stop working. And no, I'm not going to suggest you keep grinding until you're 80 or survive on rice and beans for the next 2 decades. If you clicked on this video, chances are you're experiencing exactly what Lisa described. Overwhelmed, probably a bit scared, and questioning whether it's even worth trying at this point. Let me be crystal clear about something right from the start. You're not defective, and you didn't fail at life. The typical American reaches age 50 with approximately $117,000 set aside for retirement. But here's what's really eye-opening. 78% of people earning 6-figure incomes are still trapped in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. So the real issue here is not about how much you earn. The problem is that nobody ever sat you down and taught you the critical fundamentals that actually matter when you're at this stage of life. I've spent over 2 decades diving deep into personal finance strategies, and here's what the data consistently shows. The people who succeed at building wealth aren't necessarily the ones who started investing in their 20s. They're the ones who got intensely strategic and committed to a proven framework the moment they finally began. And here's where conventional financial advice gets it completely wrong when it comes to late starters. They treat retirement planning like it's some kind of standardized test, where starting late automatically means you've failed. But the reality is entirely different. Building wealth is more like learning to play an instrument or mastering a new language. Plenty of people pick these up at 30, 40, or 50 and go on to become genuinely skilled. The same principle applies here. So let's dive into step 1. All right, step 1 is going to be getting your financial foundations solidified. I've watched too many people attempt to build wealth on unstable ground, and it never ends well. Now, this first step is almost painfully straightforward, but people constantly overlook it. You need to create an actual budget. And I'm not talking about some elaborate Excel spreadsheet with 50 categories. I'm talking about a clean, simple system that gives you complete visibility into what money is coming in and what's flowing out every single month. Here's the reality. If you've reached 50 and you're significantly behind on retirement savings, there's almost certainly money disappearing from your budget that you're not even aware of. The typical American is carrying around $7,000 in credit card debt, with interest rates somewhere between 20 and 27%. That's the equivalent of trying to fill up a water bucket while it's got multiple holes punched through the bottom. So here's your foundation formula. Start by writing down every single debt you're carrying. I mean everything. Credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, those buy, now pay, later plans, second mortgages, all of it. Next, you need to pick your debt elimination strategy. You can either tackle the smallest balance first and work your way up, which gives you those psychological victories along the way. Or you can go after the highest interest rate debt first, which mathematically saves you the most money. Now, once you look at the full picture and realize you've got multiple credit cards or high interest debt scattered across different accounts, this might be the perfect time to explore debt consolidation. This strategy could potentially slash your interest rate by half, which means you'll be debt-free significantly faster. Let me tell you about Michelle. She was paying $800 every month just servicing her debt at an average interest rate of 22%. After one consolidation loan, her interest rate dropped to 8%. That single move freed up $300 per month that went straight into her retirement accounts. Now, once you've got a handle on that high-interest debt, you need to start constructing an emergency fund. You're just looking at 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses here. Nothing crazy. What this does is create a protective barrier so that unexpected expenses don't completely destroy your entire retirement strategy. And here's what Michelle did that most people completely miss. She didn't wait until every single penny of debt was paid off before she started saving. She attacked the highest interest rate debt first, built up that small financial cushion, and then began investing for retirement while still making payments on the remaining debt. Step 2 is all about establishing realistic but flexible retirement targets. We need to figure out your retirement number, but we're not doing this the way most financial experts do it. Forget everything you've read about those "you must have $1 million" headlines. Let's talk about what you actually need based on your real life. If you're 50 years old right now and you're targeting retirement at 67, that gives you 17 years to save and invest. And let me tell you, that's incredibly powerful. That's substantial time. So you need to ask yourself this question. Can you live comfortably on $4,000 per month when you include Social Security? If that works for you, then you're looking at needing somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000 saved up. Now, if your lifestyle requires closer to $6,000 monthly, then you'll want to target somewhere in the range of $900,000 to $1 million. But here's the critical part. These targets need to remain flexible because you're just getting started on this journey. That flexibility might mean working until you're 70 instead of 67. Or it could mean doing some part-time consulting work in your field. Maybe it means seriously considering a move to a lower cost of living area, especially if you're currently in expensive states like California or New York, where the cost of living is absolutely brutal. At some point, you're going to have to make some difficult decisions. There's no way around that. So whatever that dollar amount target is for you, you need to work backwards from it. Let's say you need to save approximately $2,800 every month, assuming you get a 7% annual return, which is actually below the historical market average. If that number sounds completely impossible to you right now, just stay with me. Keep watching. Step 3, the catch-up superpower. Remember Lisa from the beginning of this video? Step 3 is what I explained to her that completely shifted her perspective from despair to actual planning. This is like discovering you've got a legal performance advantage in a race where you thought you were hopelessly behind. Let me break down these numbers so you can really grasp what's available to you. The standard 401k contribution limit is $23,000 per year. But once you hit age 50, you unlock catch-up contributions, which add an extra $7,500. That means you can contribute a total of $30,500 annually into your 401k. And if you've got an IRA, an individual retirement account, the government allows $7,000 in regular contributions plus an additional $1,000 catch-up contribution. So that's $8,000 total per year you can put into that account. Now here's something that genuinely blows my mind. There are so many people who are behind on retirement who aren't even capturing their full employer match. Lisa's employer offered to match 50 cents for every dollar she contributed, up to 6% of her salary. On her $65,000 annual salary, that worked out to $1,950 of completely free money that she was just leaving on the table every single year. Just making that one simple adjustment to capture her company's full match is likely going to add over $200,000 to her retirement fund over the next 17 years. And that calculation doesn't even factor in the raises she'll probably get during these peak earning years, which would make that number grow even larger. Let me show you what I mean by this. If Lisa increases her contributions to just 10% of her salary, she's projected to have around $300,000 saved. Now, if she gets really serious and pushes it to 20% of her income, she's looking at over $500,000, even if the market performs below its average. So, here's your priority list. Priority number 1, make absolutely certain you're getting your full employer match. That's an instant 50 to 100% return on your money. You're not going to find that kind of return anywhere else on the planet. Your second priority Eliminate any high-interest debt, anything above 10%. You need to attack that aggressively, because doing so is going to open up so much more of your income that can flow into retirement investments. Third priority, max out those catch-up contributions, or get as close to maxing them out as you possibly can. Every additional dollar needs to be directed toward your retirement so you can actually live the life you deserve once you're done working. Lisa started with just enough to capture her full employer match, which was around $300 to $25 per month. After 6 months of that, she planned to bump it up to $500 monthly. And following the plan we mapped out for her, by year 2, she'll be saving almost $2,000 per month with minimal lifestyle adjustments. Step 4, the investment strategy, avoiding the 2 deadly mistakes. Step number 4 is absolutely critical, so pay close attention here. This is the point where most people over 50 make one of 2 catastrophic mistakes, and either one will keep you financially stuck. The first trap is what I call the home run mentality. At some point in this journey, you're going to think to yourself, I'm so far behind. I need to double my money fast. That's when you'll be tempted to start chasing things like investing in penny stocks, throwing money into altcoins and cryptocurrency, or following those hot stock tips from your brother-in-law at the family barbecue. This is exactly how people turn $30,000 into $8,000. They're swinging for the fences trying to hit home runs. Don't become that person. You don't need that approach. You just need to consistently hit singles, year after year after year, and avoid striking out. Now, trap number 2 is the complete opposite. It's the ultra-conservative approach. At some point, you're going to think, I'm behind and I absolutely cannot afford to lose any money. So you might consider putting every dollar you save into a traditional savings account, or certificates of deposit, or high-yield savings accounts. But here's the problem. That strategy is not going to help you build wealth in time for retirement. Inflation is going to steadily eat away at your purchasing power over the next 15 to 17 years, or at best, you'll just keep pace with inflation. And we need growth, not stagnation. These super conservative portfolios are designed for people who have already won the wealth building game. They're in preservation mode, but you're trying to build wealth, and you've got 15 to 17 years to make it happen. So if you're 50 years old, with nothing saved for retirement, your portfolio should be roughly 70% stocks and 30% bonds. Why? Because you're trying to grow wealth over the next 15 to 17 years, which is a long enough time frame to ride out any market volatility and storms. Remember this. People with very conservative portfolios have already won. They're playing the game of capital preservation. You don't have capital to preserve yet, so you need to take a more aggressive approach than someone who's the same age but has significantly more money already saved. Does that make sense? And when you're selecting your investments, just keep it simple. Do your research and choose low-cost index funds. You don't need to pay 1 to 2% of your wealth every single year to some fund manager or financial advisor. Just construct a straightforward portfolio with a total stock market index fund, an international index fund, and a bond index fund. That's it. You're done. You don't need to try to beat the market to get excellent returns. You just need to match the market. You don't need some overly complicated strategy. Complex strategies just cost you more money. Step 5. Lifestyle optimization. The big wins that actually matter. Our final step is lifestyle optimization. Now, here comes the hard truth that most financial content creators refuse to tell you. If you're 50 and you're behind on retirement, certain lifestyle changes are absolutely non-negotiable. But I'm not talking about those trivial things like eliminating your daily coffee. We're going after the big wins, the major expenses that actually move the needle in your favor. What you need to do is conduct a complete lifestyle audit. That $750 car payment, which is the current average in America, can you sell that vehicle and drive a $15,000 used car instead and invest the difference? That $200 per month you're spending on cable and stacked streaming subscriptions, could you cut that in half? Eating out 4 times a week, can you reduce that to once a week? We're not talking about eliminating everything you enjoy in life, but can you scale back enough to free up hundreds or even thousands of dollars every single month to invest in your future self? Because it's going to make a massive difference by the time you retire. If you can identify just an extra $400 in monthly savings and redirect that into investments, that's going to grow to nearly $180,000 over 15 years. So think about it from that perspective. And the more you can set aside through these lifestyle adjustments, the larger that fund is going to be when you reach 65. Now, for all your other spending, I want you to use what I call the future self test. Before you make any purchase over $200, ask yourself this question. Will my 70-year-old self thank me for buying this? Or will they wish I had invested this money instead? That's the kind of mental discipline you need to develop if you're serious about doing the work to secure yourself a comfortable retirement. Now, here's another tip that most people overlook. Focus on how you can accelerate your income. Too often, people obsess over cutting expenses and saving, but you're in your 50s. These are your peak earning years. You're an expert at something. You've been developing skills for decades at this point. So you need to figure out a way to monetize the expertise you already have. This is your opportunity to negotiate for a promotion at work, to negotiate a raise for yourself. You know exactly how valuable you are to your organization. Make the case to your boss for why you deserve more compensation. Start that consulting side business you've been thinking about for years. Or simply monetize those skills you've been building for the last several decades. Listen, even a school teacher can monetize their expertise. I know an educator who tutors students once a week. She charges $80 for a 50-minute session. When one student finishes, the next one is already waiting. If she's doing just 4 hours of this extra work per week, that's $1,280 per month. If you can find a way to invest that kind of money consistently for the next 15 to 17 years, that's easily over $500,000 with an average 8% market return. Think about that for a second. How can you work on the income side of this equation? You don't need to go find some second part-time job paying minimum wage. You don't have to sign up to drive for Uber or deliver food. If you monetize what you already know and what you're already skilled at, it's going to be significantly more lucrative. Trust me on this. Now, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching. You've got this. See you in the next one.